Hi everyone, welcome back to the Broadway Buzz podcast, where we break down everything from rumors to interviews to backstage drama. My name is Pierce, and today we've got a wild mix of topics. One of Broadway's most iconic flops opened this week in 1997, and Jake Gyllenhaal's dressing room cost more than my student loans. That's right, apparently he paid an interior designer, and he gave them a budget of a whopping $100,000. Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable, but our final piece of topic today, we are going to be discussing Titanique's new lead. We have some drama circulating around her, Amber Ardolino. She was criticized on Instagram, and she took the time to post the person's kids to her story, where she has over 80,000 followers. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Also, don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at BWayBuzzPodcast, and you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and rate the podcast 5 stars. Within the past 2 years, I learned about Titanic the musical, and that's only because my regional theater nearby did a performance of it, and honestly, I didn't even see it. My mom and sister both saw the show, and they reported back to me how it was. They enjoyed it, but I don't think I was really interested in going to see it. I will say I saw Titanique on Broadway, which is, well, I should say off-Broadway, since it was off-Broadway. It was never on Broadway. But that is sort of a parody version of Titanic if Celine Dion was on the ship, and all of the characters, Jack, Rose's mom, Cal, they're all in the musical, but they all are just singing Celine Dion songs, and they're all just making fun of the movie, sort of. It's a one-act, really funny 90-minute show. I actually saw it twice because I liked it that much, but sadly it's closing this June, so if you guys have not seen Titanic, go see it. We're going to be discussing the drama around Amber a little later. I've heard that she's not the best Celine that they've had, but she's what they have now. So if you want to see it before it closes, I strongly encourage you to go see it. So let's go ahead and start talking about Titanic the musical. On April 23rd, 1997, Titanic the musical officially opened at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater. It ran for 804 performances, originally with 26 previews, officially closing March 21st, 1999. So it had a good run. It had about a 2-year run. That's good for Broadway. The music and lyrics were both by Maury Yeston. The book by Peter Stone. Richard Jones directed it. We have the choreography by Lynn Taylor Corbet, and the orchestrations by Jonathan Tunick. So the synopsis of the entire musical was that it followed the real-life passengers and crew aboard the RMS Titanic, unlike the film where Jack and Rose were a made-up love story to romanticize the tragedy. It highlighted the cross-section of society from third-class immigrants that were chasing the American dream to the first-class people who were expecting luxury. And it builds up towards the ship sinking, and the show explores themes of class, ambition, human error, and hope. So obviously critics were skeptical at first with it being a massive tragedy, and they would think, how could this work as a musical? It's kind of like 9/11 becoming a musical. I mean, it was 100 years, not even 100 years, but it was maybe 80, 90 years after the tragedy. So it wasn't like these people, well, I mean, I guess they could still be alive, the kids, and the relatives were surely still alive, but it still worked the same way the film worked. It surprised a lot of people, and We even have the New Yorker calling it astonishing for being both grave and entertaining, calling it a genuine addition to American musical theater. And the production's impressive set design, music, and emotional depth obviously helped it win over with the audiences. I would have loved to see the ship set sinking, sort of, you know what I mean, throughout the show from the beginning to the end. I think with it being Broadway, obviously the best set designer, it was nominated for Best Musical, Best Original Score, Best Book, Best Scenic Design, and Best Orchestrations in the 1997 Tony Awards, and it won all 5 of the awards that it was nominated for, which is obviously an impressive feat for the show. And not many shows can do that, like, be able to actually get every nomination. One. Obviously, it was only 5, which is not as many as, like, Book of Mormon or Hamilton have been nominated for 10 and 13, but here's where it kind of gets interesting, because you're probably thinking the film helped elevate the musical, it brought the sales, it made people be like, oh, are we about to see Jack and Rose on stage? But actually, the musical came out 8 months before the film with Leonardo DiCaprio hit the theaters. So it came out, the film came out in 97, but in December, and obviously, as we mentioned, this week in 1997, the musical opened. So the film was obviously a massive hit, winning 11 Oscars, and it became the highest grossing film at the time. And with that, the musical obviously benefited hugely. The ticket sales spiked in early 1998, right after the film came out. People wanted to go and see it. The tourists, the fans of the movie, they all started coming to the musical, curious to see it played out in person, on stage. So obviously the film did help contribute, but the stage version came out before the film was officially released in theaters. Now, in 2012, Maury Yeston worked with the director Tom Sutherland to develop a chamber version of the musical, kind of like with a chamber choir in the background. It premiered in 2013 in London, and this like stripped down version, it used a smaller cast, a minimal set, and it focused on the more intimate storytelling rather than the spectacle of the set, and just, you know what I mean. With this sinking ship, I'm sure they didn't even actually use the sinking ship. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm just assuming. Critics praised it for its emotional depth. It didn't need the bells and whistles to be powerful. The chamber version since toured internationally, and it had an off-Broadway run in 2014, showing that this show obviously has a long-lasting emotional impact. Titanic overcame early doubt and became one of the most surprisingly successful musicals of the 90s, with its ability to evolve from Grand Broadway to a small chamber piece. This obviously shows how strong the writing and the music are. You don't need a strong set and big spectacle to impress people. So obviously it's a great example of how musical theater can take a story that's been known already and turn it into something new and bring new layers. That's another example could be with Shrek, the musical. Shrek kind of was a joke cartoon movie, but with the musical, it kind of adds more layers to each character, including Donkey, including Shrek. It just gives you a new perspective of what they're thinking and why they think that way with the songs and the book. So yeah, Titanic, if you have the opportunity to see it at a nearby theater, I recommend it. I think now that we've discussed it, I will go and see it sometime, next time it's played near me, or if I can go and see it where I am, I'll see it and I'll report back. To rich men in their own dressing rooms, we have Jake Gyllenhaal's $100,000 dressing room, because reports are saying that he spent $100,000 on his new dressing room. He hired a interior designer, and his dressing room apparently includes a chef-grade kitchen, art to put him in the mood of his character, custom furniture he had made, mood lighting, a meditation space, air purifiers, and a professional sound system. Um, let's talk about this. So obviously he has the right to design his room how he'd like. One second, I'm getting a foot cramp. Let me go ahead and adjust my body. Um, Obviously he can design the room however he'd like. But when you think about it, people are dying in other countries, and you're putting your $100,000 to a temporary room you're only going to be in a few hours a day for a few months. Not even a year he'll be in that room. It doesn't really add up to me, especially considering ensemble members themselves have to share spaces. Like, they're like 8 of them in one room, back to back, side to shoulder. So him to be doing this is a little privilege, and it's obviously showing his privilege, and him even doing an interview to show it off kind of gives a look at me vibe that I'm not really into, and it's kind of off-putting, especially considering the tickets that they're selling are $1,000, which I've discussed in the first episode. If you haven't heard that, go ahead and check that one out. But it just doesn't seem fair that he gets to live in luxury like this, and then he's showing it off. Life isn't fair, what other people might say, and some might argue he's a big star. He earns these perks. He earned it because he has the money, but did he really? Why isn't he helping the other cast members? If he's bringing in the audience, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate on both sides. It's honestly highlighting the inequality of the backstage life, where the ensemble members don't even get to decorate their rooms and they have to share, versus he gets his own private apartment in Times Square, basically. What do you guys think? Is it extra for me to be making this an entire topic, or do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Because obviously you guys have opinions as well, so leave them on the Spotify, and I will also be posting on Instagram where you guys can leave a comment on that. But I don't really find him showing it off and flaunting it in taste with what we're going through right now. Especially with prices hiking the way that they are, to me, it's all in bad taste, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But let me know what you guys think. Now we're going to be talking about dressing room culture itself, why dressing rooms matter, what you'll typically find in dressing rooms, and things like that. So obviously dressing rooms are more than just their changing spaces. It's the space where actors warm up, where they rest, and where they can reset emotionally. So yeah, it's nice that Jake has that, but does it work for the ensemble members that are being forced to be crammed into these small rooms? Typically you'll find in dressing rooms snacks, hydration setups like tea stations, coffee, pictures of people's families, fan art, candles, just random things. But we have Miss Patti LuPone, who apparently has a shrine. Well, had a shrine. She's known for turning her dressing rooms into a sacred personal space where she has candles, pictures, She said it's all a part of her ritual to stay grounded and focused, and it's called a shrine because these items gave her energy, focus, and helped her stay calm, which I honestly respect. I don't think you have to call it a shrine because it just gives off a creepy vibe. But I will allow it because it gives me something to talk about. Now, within the dressing room community, we have stars / leads, and we have ensemble. If you're unsure who ensemble are the people who have multiple roles that are kind of the background characters. They kind of carry the show. Leads are usually the ones who get the private rooms that are sometimes huge, bigger than my bedroom. And we have the ensemble members who share small, cramped spaces with not really any comfort. When the leads have their own dressing room, they get to design it. They can add couches, desks, lighting, wallpaper, whatever they'd like. It's their room, basically. Obviously, they pay for it. As you know, Jake Gyllenhaal paid $100,000 for his. But ensemble doesn't really they get to dress up their mirror. They can design their mirrors. There isn't really much else for them to do. Obviously, if you're on Broadway, you should be grateful for what you have. But we're just discussing the inequality, the differences that the leads get versus the ensemble. And why is that? I mean, I get we have different rooms, but shouldn't we be all a cast that all are sort of similar on the same playing field? Or are we elevating these people? Are we making them feel they're more important? Because obviously the ensemble is important. Without the ensemble, the show would kind of not be as good. It would just be the bones. We need the skin. The ensemble, they dress the show up and they make the show go, So it's just something to think about. Now we're going to be discussing this week's highlights for the Broadway news. Number 1, Stranger Things, The First Shadow has officially opened April 21st. The highly anticipated prequel to the Netflix series officially opened at the Marquee Theater. It is set in 1959 Hawkins, Indiana, and explores the origins of Henry Creel, the villain who then becomes Vecna. The production, it features impressive special effects, including a new large mind flare, and it has been updated with new scenes based on the feedback that it had from its original West End run in London. The Drama League Awards nominations were officially announced. The 2025 League Award nominations have been released with notable nominees, including the one and only Idina Menzel. Obviously, we know her from everywhere. She originated Elphaba. She created Elsa. She was in Rent. She's currently in Redwood on Broadway right now. We have Nicole Scherzinger, who is obviously from the Pussycat Dolls, and she is in Sunset Boulevard. People think that she will be nominated for the Tony alongside Audra McDonald, not nominated for a Drama League Award, but Lea Salonga, who originated the role and voice, well, I should say, who did the singing voice for Mulan and Jasmine from Aladdin, the movies, not the Broadway version. And Helen J. Shen, who I met at the Broadway Flea Market. She is up and coming. She's playing alongside Darren Criss in maybe Happy Ending, another show I would like to see that show. The awards, they recognize the outstanding achievements in Broadway and off-Broadway. Okay, now we have Pirates. The Penzance musical is currently in previews. It's a reimagined version of the Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan. It's currently in previews at the Todd Hames Theater. This production infuses the operetta with jazz, blues, and Caribbean rhythms. It's set against New Orleans backdrop We have the cast star-studded with David Hyde Pierce, Ramin Karamel, I don't know how to say his name, Ramin Karamelu, and Jinx Monsoon. Um, yeah, so I honestly wouldn't mind seeing it. My friend Ryan saw it. He really enjoyed it. Number 4, we have Floyd Collins opening at the Lincoln Center with Jeremy Jordan. The show is telling the true story of a man who was trapped in a cave in Kentucky in 1925. They actually just announced that they're going to be releasing their cast album as well, so that's something to look forward to. It's the music's kind of bluegrass, folk music. Critics have praised Jeremy for his performance and the show's haunting score, though some have noted that the production has pacing issues. I've also seen people post that they don't even know what they just watched after seeing it. We have Dead Outlaw, set to open April 27th. It's a musical inspired by the life of Elmer McCurdy. It's set to open at the Longacre Theater. The show has music and lyrics by David Yazbek and Erica Della Penna. The book is by Itmar Moses. It's garnered attention for its unique storyline and the musical composition that it has. Early reviews have already described it with a darkly hilarious and inventive production. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't know if I would spend more than $60 seeing it, but we'll have to wait for more reviews, maybe if there's clips. I do know that one of the actors I like from Shucked is in it, Andrew Dunrad, and he's kind of the lead, so check him out. I would go see it specifically just to see him. We have Real Women Have Curves. It is set to open at the James Earl Jones Theater. It's based on the play and the film of the same name. The show explores themes of body image, self-esteem, and the immigrant experience. It's the first Hispanic Latino show on Broadway in the past 10 years. Critics have lauded the production for its heartfelt performances and vibrant score. Just in Time at the Circle in the Square has just premiered with Jonathan Groff as Bobby Darin and Erica Henningsen. The Jukebox musical, it's chronicling the singer's life. It's transforming the theater into an immersive nightclub setting. I've seen clips of Jonathan dancing with the audience members. It looks like a good time. Everybody's saying to get a certain table so you can dance with them. I'm not sure which table, but yeah, check it out. The Bobby Darin, the guy who's saying "Splish Splash, I was taking a bath." Okay, we have Smash, not Splash. We have Smash, the musical, opening at the Imperial Theater, the musical with Marilyn Monroe. The stage adaptation of the TV series Smash has opened, featuring songs from the original show and new songs. The musical offers a behind-the-scenes look at the making of a Broadway show about Marilyn Monroe. I have never seen the show, but honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it. My grandma loves Marilyn Monroe so much, so I would probably watch the show with her. Critics have said that it's entertaining, with numbers that are strong performances, though some feel that the book is lacking depth, which is kind of an apparent thing that is repeating on Broadway right now. We have Ashley Graham, who is now Roxy Hart in Chicago. She's a model and an entrepreneur. She made her Broadway debut as Roxy at the Ambassador. While her performance hasn't been met with enthusiasm from fans, critics have said there's area for improvement in her stage presence and vocal delivery, which obviously is not surprising because the producers just cast people with strong fan bases in this role where people will obviously come and see it. The producers even have the dance captain adjust the dancing for each lady who with each of their abilities. So yeah. Denzel Washington addresses the prices for Othello, which was one of our top discussion topics in episode 1. He has responded to the prices. He emphasized the ability He emphasized the availability of affordable options and expressed gratitude for audience support. Critics have obviously praised the performance of Washington and Gyllenhaal, though some have noticed inconsistencies in the production's modern setting. Obviously, they need to fix that if people are going to be spending $1,000 on tickets. Hello, Jake, and what's his face? Denzel, wake up. All right. Now we're going to be discussing the drama circulating around Amber Ardolino, who plays Celine Dion in Titanic off-Broadway, and we'll be finishing the show out. And let me just say, announce her. They did announce that the show is closing after she became Celine, so they kind of hired her to like maybe boost ticket sales, and it didn't really work. There's already been drama around her apparently bullying the cast of Moulin Rouge when she was in it. She's kind of this pick-me girl who obviously has a huge following. She has 82,000 followers on Instagram, so people go and see shows specifically for her, same way that Liz Gillies is in Little Shop and people are going to see the show for her. So it kind of is baffling when she picks people that are hating on her, but this isn't even a hater because they were just stating their opinion on her performance, which is totally valid, especially if you paid for your ticket. You're allowed to review the show. They commented on the Titanic Instagram, legit the worst Celine impression I've ever seen. And she was upset over this. She was extremely upset over this, that she took a screenshot of the comment, she posted it to her story, and she tagged the person that commented it. She didn't write anything. She just did the @ sign and wrote their username for anyone to click and go and comment whatever they'd like, because that's obviously what she was looking for, the same way that Trump incited his viewers to go and deal with that. So then she did another screenshot of this person's post. I'm looking at it right now. It's a man with 2 kids, and they're like, it's after a performance, and it has the acting place tagged, and then she has her comment posted on the screenshot as well. It says, Amber wrote this on the critics, not even the critic, the mom's page, who made the comment originally on Titanic. Amber wrote, "Hi Aaron, worst Celine you've ever seen here. I see that you have babies that do musical theater. All my love to them. I hope you are supportive and kinder to them than you are to me. I'm worried for them if that's how you comment on people's pages. Continue spreading love," with a heart emoji and the hand heart emoji. And then she posted a selfie of herself as Celine, and she wrote, "If you think I'm fooking, FOOKING, around with you keyboard warriors anymore, you're wrong. All my lerv, LERV. So, obviously, even acknowledging the person that commented on Titanic wasn't the right thing to do. But then to post their kids and their page for everyone to see and the acting company that they work at, she could have crazy psycho people that are following her and are thinking this is her telling them to go do things. So it doesn't sit right with me either. And we're not going to call their criticism hate, because it wasn't hate. They said it's the worst Celine impression they've ever seen. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I've said worse things about people. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's okay to go ahead and post someone with their kids that commented or said something bad about you? and kind of get people to go and comment or do things to that person and try to ruin that person's life. Do you think that Amber was overreacting? Or do you think it was justifiable posting their comment and then her response? What do you guys think? Go ahead and go over to my Instagram, comment. I'm going to make another post on this specifically, and tell me what you guys would have done. Do you think that she was in the okay? Personally, I don't. I don't think you should be posting anybody's kids. Or even that comment, because it wasn't that bad of a comment. She didn't even insult her. She just said it's the worst impression. It's not a good impression. Whoop-de-doo-dah. Alright, everyone, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of The Broadway Buzz. I know that this one may have been a little shorter than usual, but I was out sick last week, so we're going to have regular full episodes back up and running very shortly, very soon. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at BWayBuzzPodcast so you can stay in the loop for updates, extras, and some behind-the-scenes content. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you next time.